Ethiopian Prime Minister just finished his 4 hour long speech at the parliament. He responded to questions from the members of the House of People Representative, and the man sent another clear message to Eritrea and other neighboring countries about sea access. What the Prime Minister said today, is it an intimidation, a threat, or an offer of dialogue? What was the tone of the Ethiopian PM like? Was it a threatening tone, menacing tone, or conciliatory tone? All that in this video. Welcome to the channel, viewers. Thank you for watching. Ethiopian Prime Minister responded to questions of MPs today. Last night, I reported that the Prime Minister was going to appear at the Parliament to respond to questions. A few days ago, the PM was interviewed. 4-part or 3-part interview was released. So he was fully prepared for this Parliament speech too, because in that interview he spoke a lot about Ethiopian economy, Ethiopian macroeconomic reforms, other internal issues mainly. At the end of his talk, he raised the issue of access to sea. And I think today he made some big announcements. First, he said that Eritrea is a sovereign country. Somalia is a sovereign country. Djibouti is a sovereign country. We respect their sovereignty. We don't want to annex any country. But access to sea is an issue of sovereignty for Ethiopia. If Ethiopia does not have access to sea, it won't be a sovereign country. So for us, sovereignty means access to sea. It's a very big statement. He's saying that it's an existential issue for us. Secondly, he said, if you have a rock, small piece of rock, and you put it in a glass of water, it will disturb the water. But if you throw the same rock in a pond, in a sea, there won't be any disturbance. Basically, he wanted to say that if Eritrea, Djibouti, or Somalia share sea with Ethiopia, it won't have any impact on the resources which Eritrea, Somalia, or Djibouti have. Secondly. Thirdly, he said, I'm guaranteeing that Ethiopia won't fire a single bullet against Eritrea. There are rumors that war could erupt about sea access. No war. So he ruled out the possibility of war. But in the same breath, he said, if war is an alternative, it isn't an issue. What does it mean? I mean, he's saying that he won't fire a bullet for sea access. In the same breath, he's saying if war is an issue, if war is an alternative, it's not an issue for us. And then he bragged about Ethiopian weaponry too. He said we have definitely some modern weapons, but we don't want war. War is evil. So you need to analyze entire talk about sea access, and then you can conclude what he meant. Basically, I got this impression that he was threatening Eritrea, threatening Djibouti, threatening Somalia. He was saying, no matter what happens, we will gain sea access. Yes, we don't want to fight, but we know how to fight. We know how to protect our country. We have the best weapons. We are ready to make a deal with you. He said, make a deal with us. If you want money, if you want any resources, make a deal with us. Talk to us. We want negotiation. We want dialogue. But a country, or a huge country like Ethiopia, cannot be kept deprived of sea access. It's an issue of sovereignty for Ethiopia. He offered joint use of GERD, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. He said Eritrea can use GERD, Djibouti can use GERD, Somalia, Sudan can use GERD. Means power generation. I think this is what he meant, that power generation generated from GERD can be used, can be purchased by the countries. Or he meant that these countries can have shares in GERD in return for giving sea access to Ethiopia. He talked about Ethiopian economy, Ethiopian needs. He said that no one can dismantle Ethiopia. Those who are dreaming of destroying Ethiopia, they should know Ethiopia cannot be destroyed. Secondly, said that if there is conflict in Ethiopia, there will be conflict in neighboring countries too. Neighboring countries will face the consequences of conflicts in Ethiopia. Then he talked about black market, that half of the black market is operating in neighboring countries. Half of the black market related to Ethiopia is operating in neighboring countries. Basically, Eritrea. He did not mention Eritrea, but he said that in some past speeches too, that Eritrean, he criticized Eritrean involvement in, or Eritrean backing for Ethiopian black market. Interestingly, the CXS part of his speech was very brief. He spoke for, as I said, for around 4 hours, but on this issue of CXS, he spoke for around 5 minutes, I would say, around 5 minutes. But in the 5 minutes, he made everything clear. He talked about borders too, interestingly. There are border issues between neighboring countries. He mentioned Sudan, that border issues are there between Ethiopia and Sudan, between Eritrea and Ethiopia too. Federal government said there is border issue. Federal government officials these days say that Eritrea is in occupation of Ethiopian territories. So indirectly, he said, we have outstanding issues with neighboring countries about border territories. The Prime Minister offered dialogue. He offered shares in Ethiopian entities in return for sea access, but all that have been tried in the last 2 years. Ethiopia made similar offers to Eritrea 2 years ago. Frustrated, then Ethiopian PM delivered a speech in 2023, and then Ethiopia signed MOU with Swaziland. All that has been tried in the past, which he mentioned. Which options are left now? Did not elaborate. If neighboring countries don't show any interest in Ethiopian sea access effort, what will Ethiopia do? He said, if war is an alternative, it's not an issue. This is how I sum up the Prime Minister's talk. By the way, he's saying that we won't fire a bullet at Eritrea or on the issue of sea access, while Ethiopian military is training Eritrean opposition groups. Ethiopian bullets are being fired by these Eritrean opposition fighters being trained in the Afar region of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is arming them, training them. Eritrea doing the same. It is training Afar fighters in Eritrea. It is providing support to Fano fighters. So this talk at the parliament is always a diplomatic talk, but he was more direct than diplomatic, I think. I don't think that his message will be well received in Eritrea, in Somalia, or in Djibouti. None of these three countries wants to give the type of sea access which Ethiopia wants. Thanks for watching.